G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it.
Rebecca, thanks so much for making the time to catch up. As we were just talking before I hit the record button, I think this will be a really useful conversation for small business owners, particularly around your area of mindset, I guess is one that I find particularly useful. And it's obviously so closely intertwined with leadership and leadership styles. But why don't I ask you to tell us, what is it that you do and how do you describe it to other people, or how do you introduce your work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's always a good thing to kind of share a little bit of where you've been, because it kind of informs where you are. And
Right.
so in about 10 seconds, my past my career trajectory has been pretty unconventional in that my background was about 15 years. I was a special agent with the United States government. Most of those years were with the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, also known as NCIS. And then I made the leap after 15 years, and I worked in the private sector at a technology company in a leadership position for a few years. And through all of those years of global experience, working in many different states in the United States and working in Europe, I lived there for many years, working in all of these European countries, it became so evident how holistic leadership and mindset, it answers every single challenge, every single obstacle or problem that you could be faced with as a business owner or as a professional. It answered everything. Doesn't matter the industry, the sector, the level. And that was really the genesis of why I launched my own business, Tactical Harmony, in which I am a holistic leadership and mindset coach. I also have a podcast, Tactical Harmony, pretty easy to find me on Apple and Spotify. And I train on all these timeless, tried and true tactics on mindset and holistic leadership. And to answer your question specifically on, okay, what is it that you do? Can you kind of help define that? Holistic leadership in its most simplest sense is the ability to influence and inspire yourself as well as how you lead others. And so often we skip over ourselves and our own mindset
Very
and
true.
how,
Yeah.
right? It's
Mm.
so like we skip over that and we start on, oh, the strategy to do XYZ and to lead my team, my business, this project, this mission. And I'm not saying that you can't achieve some success in those things, but you would be so much more successful and efficient and productive if you mastered yourself. Internal work drives those external results. So that's a really high level overview of who I am and what I do.
Yeah, brilliant. No, thanks for summarizing and pointing out a couple of really good distinctions there. So tell me, who's the typical customer that you look to work with, and what is it that tends to bring them to you? What sort of pain are they experiencing, or what sort of opportunity are they trying to grab a hold of when they think, oh, I need to do some work with Rebecca?
Yeah, great question. I have really two tracks, so to kind of really simplify it. I have a track for ambitious, driven professionals. So these are the go-getters out there, results-oriented. Usually they're type A, they're going for it. And that is definitely one track and one type of client that I work with. And the other really is aspiring leaders and current leaders. And both of these tracks really share the same, I say, pain points or interests. And that is, most of them are so successful. I mean, they're running, they're gunning, they have outward success, they're doing everything that's expected of them. But somewhere along the way, they may lose a bit of a spark, or they're hitting some threshold of a line they haven't crossed before in their business, in their leadership, in their whatever career they're in, and they're stuck. It's a lack of clarity. They start to run in circles. They don't know. They're doing everything that they were told. Why am I not getting this thing? Why do I feel this way? And those are the folks that usually come to me, and I'm able to help them break through those barriers, defy the ordinary, define success on their terms, and they achieve so much more than what they even came to me for. And that's what I see to be the case on almost every single client that I've supported. It's truly magical.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the typical process that you take your clients through, or how do you step them through where they are when they get to you to where they want to go?
Oh, love this. So I created a manifesto for tactical harmony, and I was so thoughtful and intentional when I created my business, when I named my business. And tactical is broken down into four components, and that's plan, align, execute, and receive. And that is exactly the scaffolding or the framework, if you will, that I walk my clients through. So that plan and align really dives into the mindset. What are your thoughts? How do you talk to yourself? How do you talk to others? What is your emotional intelligence or EQ? What are your limiting beliefs? What is your self-doubt, your fear? These are the things that I affectionately call the blockers in people's lives. Every single one of us have them. I don't care who you are, each and every single one of us have them. And if we're not aware of them, I lovingly bring your awareness to it. And then we push through it. We annihilate these and we get through all the mud or the gunk. So then we are able to move a lot faster and more clearly from where we are to where we want to go. And then, of course, through all of that, and there's a lot of strategy to unpack there, is
Mm,
execution. We got to do the darn thing.
yeah.
Insight without action's useless. Execution trumps knowledge every day of the week. So we take that inspired action now that we have our what and why, and we've anchored to our values, and we did all the plan and the line. We then execute, and then we get the results, and then we assess the feedback, and then we pivot if we need to. And then, of course, we receive. And receiving there's a lot that actually comes along with receiving. But one thing that I'd love to call out for your audience is we celebrate these incremental victories, the small wins, the big wins, because when we're expressing that gratitude, we're elevating our energetic state and we're holding that space to call in even more results, to take our business even further and faster. And
Mm.
so plan, align, execute, and receive. That's the overall framework that I take all of my clients and teams through.
Are you a small business owner? You know that getting recruitment right can make or break your team's success. Just one mishire can cost your business up to 27 times their salary. Finding and retaining top talent is a challenge, especially in today's competitive market. That's where our Ultimate Recruitment Toolkit comes in. Over 10 intensive days, our online course is designed specifically for small business owners like you. We'll walk you through the process of sourcing and securing A players for your team. Here's what you'll gain. Learn the proven strategies to pinpoint and attract the best talent in your industry. Access our comprehensive playbook filled with templates and tools tailored to fit your business needs, and apply the resources right away to enhance your recruitment process and streamline hiring. Invest in your business's success by helping your management team become effective recruiters. Supercharge your hiring process today with the Ultimate Recruitment Toolkit, available at growasmallbusiness.com.
And I think it is a really good point around celebrating the small victories. Most of the business owners I talk to readily admit they're not great at doing that, particularly the small victories. So it's a really good reminder. So can you perhaps take us through a bit of a case study of someone who's come to you, and just bring it to life a bit by telling us, what specifically were some of their challenges and issues, and how did you help walk them through this framework?
Yeah, absolutely. And one other point I'd like to highlight, if I may, because this is
Of
really,
course.
really important, is I really like to share the predication of things. And a lot of things are based in neuroscience and how your body and your brain and your mind work. And when you celebrate something, you get that dopamine hit, that feel-good chemical that releases in your body. And
Yeah.
you're training your body that whatever you did, that thing, oh, that's a good thing. So then you create habits around that. And how we think and feel affect our behavior and our actions. And then we associate and create all of those, neural networks in your brain that I'm going to start doing more of the thing that got me the result that I actually wanted. This works from going to the gym and doing something to running a successful business. And so everything I do is aligned with that, which really does impact and inform our strategy. So for a case study, one is coming to mind of an incredible business owner. She was actually in my world for several years in federal law enforcement. And she came to a point, she saw me, start my business and everything I'm doing. And I was actually her boss many, many years ago when I was stationed out east. And she wanted to create a business, but she didn't know if she could. And, there is limiting beliefs associated with that. There was a lot of, beliefs that were false. I don't know how to do that. I'm not smart enough to do that. Well, I don't even know where to begin. And she was starting with all those things outside of her, except for inside. So I anchored her to her mindset. I anchored her to look what you've accomplished working in, NCIS that most people can't even get past the interview or background stage, and look how successful you are. So really kind of realigning her, really digging into why do you want to start this business, and anchored her to her values, which is absolutely key. Our what
Right.
and our why are our North Star. Our values control our beliefs. Our values control everything that we do at home and in our career. So really digging deep, we were able to pull the weeds, get rid of all of the BS, get rid of all of the fear, the self-doubt, and then we started to plan, align, execute. And we started to take the class. She obviously worked with me as her mentor and coach. We did, anything that you needed to do to create that business, the certifications in her particular line of business. She went through it and she successfully launched her business. She has clients. She is so happy and proud of herself. We celebrated the crap out of it. And now she's just all over social media, running and doing all these beautiful things. And I was so incredibly proud because she was so hesitant. What are people going to
Mm.
think? What if I fail? And I told her, and this is a reminder for everybody,
Yeah.
successful people have fear, but they move with it anyways. They have a different relationship with it. They don't let it stop them. So hold hands with fear, redefine your relationship with it, and move, because nothing is ever so catastrophic than the narrative that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
It rarely, in NCIS, being a special agent working crazy criminal investigations around the world, and national security cases and ops, I can tell you this with so much confidence in my being. It's rarely ever so catastrophic than what we tell ourselves. This stuff works. And so I'm incredibly proud of her. And that's a case study that I love to showcase.
Yeah, brilliant. That's a great story, and I think that issue of self-doubt is something that's very common, and understanding that it doesn't have to limit us, and it's very normal. Is a really healthy way to look at it. So no, that's a beautiful story. Um, I guess just looking back on the conversation we've just had over the last 15 minutes or so, what would you say is one of the most important takeaways that you would recommend, particularly a small business owner, just given that's largely our audience, could take away from this conversation, and potentially something practical that they could really start to do, or implement after listening to this?
Absolutely. I love this. Yeah, it's so funny as we chatted about, like, there's so many things you could share here, but one thing as a small business owner myself, right? Because there's so many things. This is a non-negotiable. It's something that I do every single week. And for those who are watching, you can probably see like I'm energetic and like I'm bringing that, energy to it. But for those who are listening, it is really bringing that fierce intention and energy to every single Monday, to every single week, and analyzing. Like, one, you got to set intentions. We can't just, be all arbitrary and kind of go with the flow. We have to be so intentional and deliberate with our moves. But here's the secret sauce. 20% of what we do gives us 80% of the results that we are seeking. So really being so radically aware of everything that we do in a day, our habits, the discipline that we bring to every day. What are we doing each day? And then if it's not getting me the results that I want, it's out the door. And I say that with love. It could be binging a show. It could be time you spend with a friend or different people. That toxicity, it's got to go. And it's, what am I doing that is going to give me the 20% of things that I do that's going to move that proverbial ball down the field, that give me the more clients or the more revenue or whatever it is that I want in my business. I implement this every single week. And then those are the things. I turn up the volume. I do more of those things. And voila, I have more of the results that I'm seeking. And it's always, it's never a one and done, which is why consistency and having that, victory mindset comes into play, because I'm constantly analyzing what worked last month may not be the 20% of the things that I need to do this month. So I have to analyze the economy. I have to analyze the results and the feedback of my business. And I'm constantly tweaking if it's something that needs to be tweaked. That 20% giving me those 80% of results. And we don't have to make it hard. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. I know I've been, a victim of that myself. And so I use that as fuel to drive me. And that would be my recommendation to your amazing audience.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So if our listeners have got something from this conversation and this has triggered some interest, how's the best way to find out a bit more about you?
Oh, yes. So my website is tacticalharmony.com, and that has all my coaching packages, everything from 1 hour to 3 months. I'll have my book on there, which is coming out December 17th.
Great.
And LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm a huge presence on LinkedIn, Instagram, but if you go to tacticalharmony.com, you'll see everything there. And I would be honored to work with anybody.
Brilliant. Well, that's awesome. Rebecca, thank you so much for your time. There's a lot that you've covered in a very succinct amount of time. So, I'll certainly be keeping an eye out on your website, and the book sounds great as well. So I'm sure that'll be full of useful information. But thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you so very much for having me.
We'd greatly appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to leave our podcast a review on iTunes. If you don't have an account, simply follow us on Spotify. You'll help other small business owners find the cast and valuable content our guests share.